All right, welcome to the Dales Report, and happy to be joined with the CEO of Digimax Global Incorporated, Chris Carl, back to the show. Mr. Carl, how's the summer going?
Well, it doesn't feel like summer here in Toronto. It's a rainy day, but no, it's going well, and we are continuing to work hard and feeling good.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. A lot of investors within the investment community space eager to see you and hear from you, and want to get obviously an update as here we are in early July, but let's get to that. Obviously, CryptoHawk, it's launched, June 1st, so it's been about 6 weeks into it. Late last month, you announced some promising results with signal performance outperforming buy and hold strategy on Bitcoin by 32.3% and Ethereum by 34.7%. That's big, real big.
Exactly. And the end of the month numbers are just as good as that. In fact, the absolute return before any commissions that you might pay, which might knock a couple of points off these numbers, but the absolute return for Bitcoin for the month following the CryptoHawk indicators was 25.9%, I believe, and the absolute return for Ethereum was 13%. But that's against, if you were buy and hold, you would have been down 10% on Bitcoin, and you would have been down about 13% on Ethereum. So it really is showing that the reason we brought this tool to market is it's great to buy and hold, and a lot of us still believe that we're going to see much higher highs in Bitcoin and Ethereum prices and cryptocurrencies in general. But it's very painful, as we all know, because our stock price reflects the same thing, unfortunately, is very painful in the short term when things are down, even though you're a believer in the long term. With CryptoHawk, you don't need to do that. And you play the volatility, and in 1 month, 25% return. We're really happy. This CryptoHawk product is fantastic.
So the app produces double-digit gains. Bitcoin was down 11.7% from June 1st to the 27th. So let's put this all together. Like, put these numbers into context for the average investor, especially given your inside view and how the app's predictive ability has progressed since January.
Well, CryptoDivine was a great product, and we said that when it came out that we would be improving upon it, and we did, and more than just improve upon it. Frankly, we relaunched a whole new brand. CryptoHawk is a pardon the pun, but it's a different bird. It does way better things. It's reducing the number of indicator calls that we send out to the investors, but it's also really aggregating more data and doing a better job of it. And frankly, the June results speak for themselves. As everybody in the investment industry always has to say, the past is no promise or indicator of the future, or certainly no guarantee of the future. And I'm not sure, when we'll see a month where we have an absolute return of 25% again in 1 month, but it sure does show that, this whole tool is bang on if you follow the indicators and trade on them.
What's the feedback been as far as the name itself?
Yeah, the name, I don't think I've not heard any complaints. I think it's good. It represents sort of two things. It's hawks soar above the crowd and look down and find their prey, and then are very exact in what they do. We think that's a good analogy. And hawks also have tremendous eyesight, and same thing. Having a strong eyesight into the future is really what we're all about. But I don't think it's so much the name. It's really what it embodies and what we're making happen. And I'll tell you, the bigger thing that we get, people who are already using it are loving it, and we're getting nothing but positive feedback. The people who aren't using it yet, there is reticence for sure, because there's a lot of automated trading tools out there, or automated information. And I'm not looking to put any of them down, but they basically are automating technical trading tools. They're taking all the available trading information that, frankly, if you spend your time on a Yahoo Finance or Google Finance, you can go and get that information yourself. And that's what most of these other products do. We don't even look at that stuff. We're looking at all the other influences in the world, and we're really showing to be, tremendously on top of it, especially for the big swings.
Good to know. On that same update, the reason I bring up the name is that you announced an extensive marketing campaign to grow the CryptoHawk this year and maintain confidence that 10,000 subscribers is an achievable goal. Are you still confident that you can achieve that number by year's end?
I am, and there's a couple of reasons for that. We have really, since CryptoHawk was brought out on June 1st, really globalized our marketing effort. And that's, these things take a couple weeks, a few weeks to kick in, but we're starting to see tremendous, increase in followers, increase in the number of people that are doing the trials. One nice stat is we're seeing increases in the number of people jumping from the base level up to the more advanced level, where there's a lot more products available, a lot more trading features available for those who want to do it. So yeah, we're feeling very good about the trend. And I think that given what is about to come out into the market, literally in the next 5 or 6 days, we are sweeping the world. We're doing, sort of marketing deals with people in very crypto-oriented countries, in Asia, in Europe, in sort of Southern Hemisphere, in different places. So yeah, it's feeling very good, and everybody likes the brand and the marketing materials, and all of that's about to really start to explode.
It's incredible. Like, you were down at the conference in Miami last month. What was the overall feedback like and the atmosphere like? Because look at the way this industry is performing. Sportico announces a 10-year deal, $175 million deal with the UFC yesterday. The industry is blowing up. You got guys like Kevin O'Leary that have been, very, very critical of this industry for quite some time. Now he's a strategic investor in one company. But what has been the feedback like for this overall industry, and more pertaining to your company specifically, with a lot of people that you've been speaking with over the course of the last month or two?
Well, I think that certainly the people who follow it closely are believers that this is a market that's here to stay, and that Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrencies in general have a very big place in our economy, and an important place. And it's not to replace fiat currency, and that's never going to happen. But it might put some pressure on fiat currency to maybe grow up a little bit, because I think that central banks have gotten a little sloppy, and life has been a little too easy, and it's going to put some competitive pressure on all of that. But certainly among that group of people, there is no doubt that it's here to stay. And I'm old enough to be around when the whole .com was coming along.
Yeah.
And it's a very similar feeling, because everybody kind of knew it was here to stay. Nobody could pinpoint exactly what was going to work right. But boy, oh boy, the ones that did work, they're the biggest companies in the world, as we all know, and so I see the same thing happening in this industry. And the technology and the brain power behind what's going on.
I know.
Some of the smartest people I've ever met, are involved in these things, and they've left other really, really smart jobs to get into this industry, whether it's the big banks or whether it's other big tech companies, because they think this is where the new technologies are all going to come from.
Well, don't you find it's incredible to see that the perception a lot of the times for so long with crypto is it very much targeted, it was like that 30 and under audience. But from what you're seeing, would you say it's a broad range of audience, anywhere from, say, millennials to baby boomers?
It's always dangerous to categorize anything, but I would say that the people who are looking to trade it, and frankly have all the trading knowledge, are certainly under 40 by and large. I did one of my first in-person interviews, or presentations on an investor relations standpoint just last week, and it was outside. There was about 25 investors, most of them a little older than 40, I would say, and I think there's a real interest where people want to see a piece of that into their portfolio. It's a real asset class. They don't necessarily know a lot about it, and when you don't know about something, you're more afraid of it than you are, in favor of it. But this is where I think, again, our company, and why we're excited about what we're doing, even though the market isn't at the very moment, again, it's reflecting the share price. But why we're excited is we've got this trading tool. And we'll get into a little bit of the partnerships that are coming, and then we've got the fund that's coming, which is going to allow some of the more mature investors with maybe slightly larger portfolios to participate in for them what will be a passive investment, but knowing that they're actively trading in the volatility of cryptocurrencies. And so I think we're covering both ends, and I wouldn't mistake the fact that there aren't as many older people involved in day trading it or trading it, in and out, as being no interest. There's a huge interest. They're just confused as to how they can play it, and they like what they're seeing with us.
Good to know. With these announcements, you just brought up the fund. So this was the first update on CryptoHawk's performance in the lead up to your long short crypto-based fund launch, which is expected, as we said, at the end of August. So saying that, will we see additional monthly updates between now and then? And do you expect to attract a substantial amount of capital prior to the fund's launch, knowing how early the CryptoHawk app is performing?
Okay, so there's a couple of things embedded there, specifically about the fund. I don't anticipate raising a lot of funds prior to being registered and open to do so. So do we have a lot of interest? Absolutely.
Okay.
Is that all going to be like, a lineup for the, the Apple 7 and 8 when those kind of, day-long lineups? No, it's not going to be quite like that. But we're talking,
though, right?
well, we're talking, and I want to create a real expectation, because
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't like it when people's expectations get ahead. Do we think this can be a multi-billion-dollar fund? I sure do, and maybe faster than anybody will ever realize. Who knows? But we are talking to two groups of people who manage vast amounts of money, who want to have a position in cryptocurrency and are telling us they love what we're doing, as well as intermediaries who frankly place money, in fund-to-fund type of situations. They both think what we're doing is awesome, but nobody's going to put in their full position on day one. Mm-hmm. So, if $1 billion fund wants to have, $100 million exposure to crypto, and they really like what we're doing, they're not going to put $100 million in on the very first day. We won't have a track record yet, right?
Yeah.
We do with CryptoHawk, but what they will do is they'll put some fraction of that $100 million in at the very beginning so they can get their position. And as long as we continue to do well, they'll add to it at least every quarter, if not every month. So the first numbers aren't going to be massive. I'd be looking more to how many individual investors we get, and hopefully that will be a large number. And I don't have a metric to even measure ourselves by yet. But having a bunch of people with a small position who want to increase that position over time is really the way I think this thing will grow. But I think it will grow rapidly.
All makes sense. And you're happy with the way everything's trending, correct?
You know what? Again, just to finish up on the fund, the group of people that we're working with is fantastic. And we're dealing with companies. There's a number of back office companies, obviously, when you work with in funds, and it might even number 10 to 12 different groups. And they're all 20, 30-year companies that have been doing this and are the best of breed in each of the industries they play in. Mm-hmm. The partners that we brought on and the directors are fantastic through and through. So we've really created a blue chip offering here. So we're really excited about that. Well, let me go back to one other thing you said, though. It's kind of important because, what are our updates? Well, we spent the first couple of quarters and the last quarter of last year when we were making our acquisitions, building the base that could generate revenue based on artificial intelligence that we've talked about. And we feel very good because that's largely done. There's a couple of new things coming up over the balance of the year, but the things that can make us an awful lot of revenue and a lot of EBITDA, that work is done. And now what we're doing is, and I can tell it by what I do when I get up in the morning, totally changing what I do from, are we there yet? Are we going to be done? Are we going to be on time and everything else, and making sure all those things are happening, to how fast can we grow revenue? What are we doing on this side? What else can we be doing? And how do we make this a better product and a better offering and get more eyeballs on what we're doing? And I really feel that whole move in the last few weeks in our company. And so as that happens, that's when the subscribers are going to come along. That's when revenue is going to come along, and it's really starting to happen. So it's all about a revenue story. It's metrics. And I will be going forward, trying to present more and more metrics as we do our updates so that people can judge us properly. We don't want to be a mystery, but we've got something real now, and I think it's going to be quite successful.
Good. Well, you've talked about revenue. You made a big investment, and as much as CryptoHawk has garnered a lot of attention, Kirobo, let's focus on that. That's garnered just as much attention, if not more, and will be featured on Fox Business News later this week. So what's been some of the feedback, meaning who have you been speaking to about this specific investment? What's been their feedback? And what's some of the information based off of that you can share with shareholders that can get them excited?
Phenomenal company, and they make a great strategic partner for us. We did remain at the 15% interest. We did not want to dilute shareholders, so that's fine. That's why there was no announcement about us exercising it. We do have an update coming out soon that will explain that a little further. But phenomenal investment and phenomenal company, and I think we're going to do really well with them.
It's great.
And frankly, they were actually it was on Fox already this morning. Interview was a little tough on the audio, but the fact that they got there and they're getting that kind of recognition is awesome. Mm-hmm. They did announce both last week and on this interview that they're just over $1 billion already in transactions performed using this new feature. And I think that we're going to see our investment in that pay off in a very, very large way. Financially, because of the cash we invested, but also by being able to cross-utilize our two technologies. And there's a lot of really cool things coming down the pipe with them. So we're very excited about our relationship there.
Do you have an idea or a timeline as to when the return on your investment will start, I guess, yielding a positive return for to share with investors? Or you probably want to steer clear of that right now, or is there a timeline that you can maybe think of?
Based on we all use, except the US, this thing called IFRS accounting, International Financial Reporting Standards. I think there may be some benefits accruing into our balance sheet as early as the next quarter, which is going to make us a stronger company, a stronger financial company. But the real benefit is at some point, if they get bought out, we'll get our share of that. That could be a big cash win if it is a good price. And or if they are generating so much cash, what appears they could be there, start to dividend, and we could see that happening as well. There are other ways and other projects that could come about, no promises, that could actually add a lot of value to that as well, which is one of the reasons that we got involved with them in the beginning. And so we're working on some really cool things with those guys.
It's great. Finally, as much as the conversation has been about crypto and Kirobo, let's get an update on how your artificial intelligence assets are progressing, such as the PPI hiring solution that you're commercializing both with small and mid-sized businesses.
Yeah, so that is going very well. The number of organizations that are playing with that and trying to figure out how to use it in a very big way is growing substantially. It hasn't resulted in a lot of announcements. And I know I say this over and over again, and I'm not sure it ever will result in as many announcements as CryptoHawk and the other things that we're doing there will, because a lot of companies are very private in the way they organize their operations. But that one's very exciting. This whole artificial intelligence thing started with our acquisition of DataNet. It was last September.
Right.
And one of the other things that they have going is a business-driven model that helps small, medium-sized companies, analyze their businesses better, analyze their markets better, and manage their companies better. And they're getting some real traction with that as well. So I think that those are going to be, good revenue generators over the long term, nice, steady revenue generators. And that's what makes for a great company, because you've got nice, steady revenues. The other thing that we're doing, though, is we're taking this CryptoHawk model, which is, putting it out to subscribers who like to invest on different time horizons, and looking at other applications other than just cryptocurrencies. And we're pretty close to being able to launch that. At the end of Q1, I said by the end of Q2, we would be announcing that. We are pretty close to being able to announce that happening. And it will be a sort of a CryptoHawk to having nothing to do with cryptocurrencies. And we're excited about that, because the markets move in different ways. And the more market offerings that we have, the more we can attract different types of users and continue to expand our offering to the market, and therefore, multiply out our revenue and our EBITDA.
Are there some marketing concepts that you could share with us that you plan to focus on here in the back end of 2021?
Sure. I think that, it's a multifaceted approach. We're literally launching, and it has been launched, but accelerating now through, obviously, all the sort of multimedia channels and the social media channels. That's just starting to ramp up now. We're working with groups outside of North America at an increasing rate. On that, we're getting more and more sort of YouTube followers. There was a video popped up a few days ago, almost unbeknownst to us, and it's a great explanation of how things work. And it wasn't even from this continent, and so it's getting picked up by a lot of people who are very interested in cryptocurrencies. We have an organized effort also to attract more and more social media influencers who are active in this space. And I know the big thing that everybody wants to wait and hear for, we are also working with a number of exchanges to try to get it all right. There's more security issues involved in working with an exchange than we sort of imagined at first, but we're working our way through that. I don't see that as a showstopper, but it's I's dotting and T's crossing a little more than we anticipated, but I think there's going to be a huge acceleration of that over this quarter.
Yeah, well, the whole market's been down. Everything sounds like it's progressing great. It's a great work.
We're happy as can be. We think that everything that we're doing is going exactly the way we want it right now.
And I know you don't look at share price, but are you surprised it was to where it is right now?
Well, if you look at all of the companies that are involved in crypto, I don't think that we're that much different, down sort of 75% from our highs, unfortunately, as a lot of companies are. But I don't think that the movement in the share price is at all reflective of where we're headed as a company. And as you and I state every time we talk, our revenue growth, which is happening now,
up or down,
is not dependent on the growth and the ongoing increase in the price of crypto. And it's dependent on the ongoing, volatility of crypto. And as long as that keeps happening, we're great. And so we're pretty happy about things.
Well, it's curious to see how this whole landscape is going to look here in North America, because I think there's a big shift going to be happening from China over here over the next year. Texas and Tennessee are opening up their doors for a lot of Bitcoin mining. So it looks to be very promising here in North America. But most importantly, I know you're busy. Appreciate the time, and I appreciate the update on everything.
Yeah, great to talk to you as always, Shad, and hopefully we'll have more things to talk to you about in the next couple of weeks.
That sounds great, and I'm sure my investors will love it too. All right, stay cool this summer, all right?
Okay, thank you. Take care.